Hello, and welcome to my Ogre tutorial series. This episode will cover GEV terrain effects. First up, swamp, forest, and rubble. Alright, GEVs treat swamp, forest, and rubble identical. That cost 2 movement points to enter, and they end movement for the turn, which means there's no second movement phase for GEVs. GEVs are also disabled on a roll of 1 or 2, and there's no defensive bonus for any of it. So if we look at this, swamps are here, forests are here, and rubble is here. Now you'll notice that these all show up as red when we're trying to move. The reason why is because of the disabled roll. It's a warning from the game telling you that if you move in, you may be disabled on a roll of 1 or 2. So if we try to move in to a forest, it does its die roll, get a 3. If we're safe, we passed our disable check. So we can try again, going into rubble, roll a 1. So you can see by its overlay here that it's been disabled by terrain. You'll also notice when we move in that we don't have any other available movement options. So even though this was a successful pass, there's no further movement for this GEV. So that's something that's critical to pay attention to for these 3 types of terrain, because it has a drastic impact on your ability to continue moving and also potentially to be disabled, to be easier to be destroyed later on. Also, it will be 1 full turn of being disabled. So at the beginning of the next full turn, you'll go through a recovery phase and you'll get another die roll. It will continue to be disabled if you keep rolling 1 and 2s. Next up, towns. Towns are the same thing as swamps. They cost 2 movement points to enter, and they end movement for the turn. So that means there's no second movement phase for the GEVs. There are 2 key differences though. The first one is there's no chance of being disabled. The second one is they give a defensive bonus of a ×2 multiplier for anything that's being attacked. So, for example, if we're moving into this hex here, you'll notice the GEVs can normally move 4, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. That's as far as he can go. And the 4th movement that would have let him go here, he can't do because he's done for the phase. And you can see in the flyover that the unit's moved its full range for this phase. He will not get a second movement either. So, same thing. You can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can make it all the way up to the town in this case because of the road. Now, from a defensive bonus perspective, this is where our combine G.E.V is getting some protection for being in the town. So normally, when we're attacking, this one in the water is in the clear. He has a defense of 2, as you can see in the bottom section here. So a single attack becomes a 2-2. This guy's attack strength of 2 against his defensive 2 for a 1-to-1 attack. 3 or 4 will disable, 5 or 6 will destroy him. So a 3, in this case, disables it. In contrast, this one that's actually sitting in the town has a defense of 4 instead of 2, because he's getting the ×2 multiplier, which means we need to use twice as many attacks to get us back up to a 1-to-1 attack again. so still disabled. If it had been a 1 to 2 attack, like we get with a single unit, that 4 would have missed. Now we need to get a 5 or 6. And obviously a 1 is no effect. So the towns are very helpful from a defensive perspective, but they slow you down moving in. This is why the roads are very important. Roads, railroads, and water. Roads, railroads, and water are nice because they give a road bonus for the GEVs. So they all cost 1 movement point to enter, and the roads negate all terrain effects. So a road or a railroad that goes through swamp, forest, rubble, etc. do not impact movement of the GEVs. They just drive through it like it's not even there. They also give a road bonus. So if a GEV starts a movement on a road and stays on the road the entire movement phase, it will get 1 extra hex of movement. And that holds true for roads, railroads, and water. So if we look at a couple examples here, this GEV is starting its movement on the road. Normally they can move 4 hexes per turn. But because it stays on the road, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it has the ability to move 5 hexes, 4 plus the 1 extra. And you'll also notice that the forest that it drove into, which would normally be 2 movement points, only counted as 1 because it's on the road. The road allows you to ignore that. Water is the same. Starts on the water, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's extra. So there's your 5 for your road bonus. And we also have the same thing on railroads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, in order to get that road bonus, you have to stay on the road the entire time. So this GEV, for example, right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if we stay on the road. But if we're going someplace that's off the road, we can only move 4. We lose that bonus because we've left the road. Streams, beaches, and ramps. All right, so now we're talking about streams and water edges that act like streams. Streams delay GEV movement. The GEV must start its turn next to the stream in order to cross, and that holds true for the water as well. So I'll show you what that actually means here. So we've got a GEV that is next to this stream, which means it can actually move across. Now remember, GEVs can move 4 hexes. So we've got 1, 2, but 3, 4. It can't get to these hexes because this stream is in the way. And you have to be next to a stream in order for it to be able to cross. So if we cross that stream, we still have 2 more hexes of movement that we can do, but we can't cross the streams in either case because we didn't start our movement next to it. So the best that we can do is move sideways along the stream. The river, the water section here, has the same issue. The sides of a full water hex behave the same way that the stream does. So this GEV here can move along the water, or it can move up this land area because it started next to the land, the same way that this GEV started next to the stream up here. But it cannot move to this land area because it did not start next to this on its turn. Now we do have a couple extra things that will help with that. Beaches, which are these guys right here, and ramps. Got an example of that right here. The beaches and the ramps negate the stream-like quality of the side of the river. So this guy can come this way and up onto the land like this was not a stream. So it's acting as a smooth transition. And there's an extra bonus with this. This beach in particular, because there's a road next to it, allows you to transfer the road bonus on top of it. So this GEV, if it comes up and moves to this point, you'll notice that it shows that it still has its +1 movement bonus. So I can continue on 5 hexes as opposed to the 4, which would have put it right here. So this guy trying to get to the water, if I want to go this way, I can't do it. But if I use the beach, I can. And the ramp does the same thing. We're starting next to the water, so we're able to move onto the water. But because we have the ramp, we can continue up along that. Whereas if we were going to try to go this direction, we could go 2 hexes, but then we can't get onto land this way. And you'll also notice that he can't cross the stream over here. So we'll be able to take advantage of this ramp area here to get up onto the road. So that's the end of the GEV terrain effects tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I hope it was helpful. Thank you.